That's what's the family plan. Trailer.
And you be that guy one last time for us.
Oh, hey, Dan.
Happy anniversary.
Dan, my husband, he's an amazing dad.
You almost ready to go to size 4S, huh? Are you so big?
Look at the big muscles.
I just wish our lives were bigger.
Really? At least let me put my kid down. Sorry about the mess.
Hold on. Oh, hey, Bo.
Hey, Dan.
Don't hang up. I need no identities. I'm burned. Me, my wife, and 3 kids.
Have you told them yet? I'll tell them when I'm on the road. Meet me in Vegas in 3 days.
This is crazy. Look at that, we're going to Vegas. Woo!
Oh,
Yes.
so pumped.
Nothing brings the family together like a road trip.
Oh, stop. Collaborate and listen. Ice is back with a brand new invention. Something.
Please stop.
5 hours on a plane or 33 hours in the car?
Can someone unlock the car, please?
Call in everybody. I want him found.
What was that? A little pothole. Maxie's been up the whole time, by the way.
Wish that.
Before I met your mom, I was a covert assassin. I escaped that life, and now they found us.
What the? Being your husband and their father? That's the real me.
You're like James Bond in a minivan.
I love that minivan. I need to be that guy one last time for us.
Look at you playing the family man.
I'm not playing. This is my life. Hey.
I'm kind of into spontaneous Dan.
Wait.
Go. Mwah! New record.
Another cool family Christmas movie, right? Coming, was it 19th or 15th of December? Isn't that cool? Like, I love Marky Mark, right? I like Mark Wahlberg, right? I liked him in Transformers, and there's several other movies I've seen him that I haven't. You know, I think was he in Ted? Can't remember right now off the top of my head, but I think, you know, I like the fact that's such a cool little family movie, right? We need more fun comedy action adventure family movies. Like the last one I watched that I thoroughly enjoyed was I think the animation one. It was like this the world was, you know, AI was taking over the world kind of thing, and all the computers and stuff was, you know, was changing over. It had to do with some invasion or some whatever. But I really thoroughly enjoyed that. So I think it's important, you know, it's cool to get more family movies and like this as the world becomes so divided over everything. And I like you know, Mark Wahlberg out here, you know, doing his own thing, coming up with this really cool little, you know, acting in these little cool little videos, and I mean movies, and plus also he's gone out and put his own studio together. If I remember, let me just check just to be sure if this is from his own little company or if it's something, you know. This is of course going to be an ITV, which is Apple, right? Because all these streamers are like now doing their own thing, and so hopefully this gets released day in day right, like where they go, it's like on streaming as well as in the theaters, right? So, but I'm not sure what Apple TV is going to do, because if they did that, like that movie we just saw, we talked about last week with you know, it's going to release in the UK, it says here on the 15th, but it doesn't say if it'll release as a day in, day out. Is it going to be released as theaters? You know, because they should release this in the theaters, because I think, because what they'll do is they'll at least be able to make $100 million, right? Because at Christmas time, and especially this is a week early from Christmas, right, 10 days earlier, that families would love to go and do something together. It's kind of like a present, early present. Let's go to the movies together as a family before we go out to nan and granddads and with the uncles and aunties and have a family dinner or barbecue, whatever you want to call it, or picnic for Christmas, whatever everybody does. You get to go out and hang out as a family, or even actually as a Christmas thing. Like you could go out and hang out at the movies, whatever, and then go and get dinner or lunch after watching the movie and talk about the movie and talk about the parents, whatever. And the baby in this was really cool. I like the you know, I like the really cool idea of the baby being a part of the actual movie, and that included in there, that made it really fun. The other thing is that that's something like the young child, right? So that's something I've tried to do with my Robot Nation. Like one of the stories, the trouble with Bobo, the trouble with Bobo, not Little Bobo, the trouble with Bobo, which is the second story in Robot Nations, where the child is in there, right? He's not just a hanger on. He's actually part of the main story, you know, and or someone else. Because like we're trying to, in modern society, we're trying to treat children like baggage. For the last 20 odd years, 30 odd years, we've tried to make children out to be like baggage. Like we've been trashing. It's, you know, they take all our time, they take all our money, and this is how much it costs to have a child. And so we kill them all, right? So we kill as many children as we can through abortion, right? It's better to not have kids than to, you know, be promiscuous, right? And so, or be promiscuous and then, you know, get rid of them. So I love family movies where, you know, there is this whole family unit and you look at all the children and the joy of that. Because, you know, the children are our future, as Whitney Houston is saying, right? You got to treat them well and watch them grow, you know? It's what you put in is what you're going to get out. And a lot of times we watch in society right now, children are being let down. And they see that constantly. And so a lot of them are opting to get out. They're bullying each other, they're mistreating each other. And they're doing the same thing they've been done to them. So they just keep doing it at home. They're getting abused. They go to school, they abuse other kids, right? And then they like, oh, then they like feel like they've been picked on, and then they go on to work and grow up, and in society they do the same thing. So you got generation of unhappy, miserable children because of the way we've told them that they are trash. And so I love seeing movies like this. That, hey, look, you don't have to have a perfect family to be loved. You just got to treat each other well. And you got to actually say, you know, it'd be nice to be in a loving family, you know. I find that like when we treat children nasty, they treat each other nasty, and society in the end breaks down because of that. How you treat your children is how we should look at adults. So if you are if your child is, you know, behaving this way, then we should look at what are you doing wrong. And a lot of times, right, it's not always the parents' fault, because when the kids leave home, they go to school, and that environment, school can be nasty in its own right. Like a lot of the nastiness I had in my life was at school, right? It wasn't outside of school, it was at school. But then there was also, because of, you know, of growing up in a certain way, then the abuse also would come from outside of school and from extended family and so on. So the idea here for me is, I'm thinking like, we need to promote more well-rounded families in media and pop culture. We need to see this out there so we can say, look, as a mirror, it'll be cool to be like that, right? Let's be like the Robinsons, like let's be like the Cosbys, as we say, or let's be like the Family Ties I mentioned the other day. it'll be good to be a wholesome, well-rounded family. But it's trial and error. You never know how to, you're not going to be perfect off the mark. So, I reckon there should be parenting schools, right? First 2 years of your life, right? First 5 years, right? You should at least once a week have a parenting class course, right? You go to that and you learn how to, from other parents, how to be a parent. This is something that I think a lot of religious, and I mean right, organized, contemplative, interested in creating a good society or good culture. Actually, I shouldn't have lifted it up because now I've got to put the seat on, right? I mean the hen things, whatever they call it, right? Oh. So armrest, right? So I'll back to the thing. So a lot of religious groups do this. Sometimes, not always. They do have organized parenting groups and where they talk about situations, how to be better parents and stuff. And any of these times, like, you got to figure out what, if it's going to work, it's going to work. If it's not going to work, it's not going to work, right? You learn, and if you want to be a better parent, if stuff isn't working well at home, it's not up to the kids to do that. It's not up to the kids to seek out, right? It's up to the parents, the adults in the room, in the home, to go, hey, it's not working. How do we make our family a better family, right? Is there any groups out there that can help us? And of course, you're going to find a lot of times it's actually religious groups that provide that. And here's the thing. Just because this is a religious group, don't turn your nose off at it, right? Turn your, whatever they call it, don't just put it off just because it's religious, right? You don't, because what you're doing is now you've got people out here just like you trying to be better at it as you are, right? And so they're trying their hardest to be better parents. So you can learn from them and do your research. How do I become, and I think that's something that we as a society need to concentrate more on, is how to come up with better parenting groups, better organized because here's the thing. If the home life is good, the school life will be good, the society, community life and society at large will be good. But if you have a broken down home, you have a broken down school life, you have a broken down work life, you have a broken life society. That's how it works, right? From the from the family to the rest of the world, right? And I think until, make sure I got the right one. How do you know if it's the left or the right? Oh, yep, I have the right one. Right. Yeah, it says right over here. Right. So, yeah, and I think we don't talk about it enough in the sense that parents need help, right? And I think we spend so much on so-called mental health, we never look at the problem where that mental health problems are starting, which is at the home, right? All the problems start in the home, as far as I'm concerned, right? And then out of there, because here's the thing, if your child is taught how to behave in society, and every parent is talking about that, then no matter what happens, majority of the time, the kids at home will already have answers to whatever they're facing, right? And not always, of course. There's always things, exceptions to the rule. But what I mean is like, if every parent is saying the same frigging thing out there, this is how you behave in society. This is what happens. This is how you talk when you're around people. This is how you behave. You know, actions speak louder than words, right? So, and so if every parent is saying this is how we do things, kid, in society, right? So when the kid is around other kids, he goes, this is how we all are being taught to do the same thing. Not some like they're mannequins or whatever, puppets of their parents, but or puppet, parroting what their parents are saying, but also the fact is that they have understanding why they're doing what they're saying, right? What they're saying, why they're doing it, how they're behaving, why they're behaving. That would really poke my eyes out. It's a good thing I have my glasses on here because I had here we go. I had this with my eye, but then of course I had my glasses on, had the glass, and that was it. It was okay because I just went in. Or did I have to start? I can't remember, but yeah, that's kind of saved me going yelling out or screaming in pain. So at the end of the day, it all begins at home, man. And if the home life is a mess, society's going to be a mess because of those kids being a mess, right? So I like seeing these, and I want more good, healthy, even wrapped up in this adventure thing, but good behavior, begins at home, right? And I mean, I'm not saying that I was ever perfect. Hell, I was the opposite of that, and that's why I can see where things went wrong in my life. I can look back and guess where it could have been better, and I can say it would have been better if other kids' parents had taught their kids to be good kids, and then I could behave good as well, and therefore then everybody would be like doing something productive in life and having a good start. Because if your parents are not bringing you up right, what hope is there for anybody else's kids, right? Because that means if you've got a terror, that terror is going to terrorize other kids, right? And those kids are going to behave because of that, right, in a certain way. So I think we need to really look at educating parents now. There's no more time to start educating parents, more important than now, when we're at a point where we're like, it's so much horrible things are happening in society, to a point where we need to stop and start looking for answers and working at getting answers on how to bring up, how to, let's do that one bit. Oh, it's because I can't do my set. All right. So I have to go from there. One arm done, one more left. There's a bunch of other screws left here. I've got to figure out what those are for. But we'll find out once we've got this done. All right. But yeah, so I do hope and wish that Apple would release it at the cinemas as well, because you look at what happened with Five Nights at Freddy's, right? They made $100 million on top in profit by just going to cinema at the same time Warner's releasing it at the movies. I mean, at the on their stream, right? On Max. I think it was on Max. What a good smart thing to do. Good thing. And they made more money off of that, profit-wise, than they made of Flash and Black Adam, right? And because it was just, as a brother trying to look out for his sister, and and trying to be like a solo parent, and which brother doesn't want that, right? Name me a brother who doesn't care for their their sibling, brother or sister, right? And I think it's so good to guess, even though it's a horror movie, right? It's based off a horror game. It's still has some positive message in it, and that underlying fact that he cares about his, you know, his sister. It's the same thing that had to do with not Demon, is this Demon Slayer? I think it's Demon Slayer, where, you know, the character, and this is the manga and anime I'm talking about, that the character is trying to look after his sister, right? Return her back to human again. That's all he cares about, right? We need more stories like that out there. We need more positive. It doesn't matter, you know, it's going to be wrapped up in whatever you want to wrap it up in, like horror, sci-fi, fantasy, but we do need positive, you know, relationships in our entertainment, because we've had so much negative for a decade now, right? And I think people have had enough. People are tired. That's why they're not spending money on all these big blockbuster things that cost hundreds of millions of dollars. That basically is not, you know. Let me see. So